The purpose of this video is to evaluate a commonly sold semi-automatic strapping machine. If you're shopping for a strapping machine, chances are good that you have seen information on a machine very similar to the one in front of me. In fact, I've printed out a variety of brochures, and as you can see, in most cases they're blue like this one, although the color can change, and the cabinet design can either be open style or closed. But the specifications on the literature are going to be very much alike. The brand name, the model numbers may change, but the bulk of these machines are almost identical. And that's especially true on the inside of these machines. The reason for that is because the bulk of these machines are copies of a machine originally introduced into the United States in the mid-1970s called the model SP505. Originally produced in Japan, it was state-of-the-art for its time. Today, that machine has been widely duplicated and is currently manufactured primarily in China or in Taiwan. I will tell you that some companies have done a better job of reproducing that machine than others. However, the basic functions of the strapping machine and many of the internal components are identical to the machine that was introduced over 3 decades ago. Today we're going to evaluate the strapping machine. On a separate video, we will evaluate the StraPack model i-10 semi-automatic strapping machine, which is our most popular selling strapping machine. By the time you've watched the video on this style strapping machine and the i-10, we think you're going to have all the information you need to make the best decision possible for your company. Now let's go and take a look at how this strapping machine functions. All semi-automatic strapping machines perform in basically the same way. The operator picks up the end of the strapping, pulls it around the package, inserts it into the sealing head, where the machine will automatically retract, heat seal, cut, and feed out another length of strapping. Before I operate this machine, however, I want you to pay attention to the noise of the machine after I'm done strapping and how long it takes for the machine to shut off. And the reason I mention that is because the noise level on these generation machines is not particularly high, but if you have an office or a shipping room that's sort of on the quiet side, it becomes a minor irritation. In addition, this style machine takes as much as 30 seconds to shut down after each cycle. That means that your machine continues to use electricity, and there's some wear on the parts for that amount of time. The StraPack i-10, by contrast, shuts off immediately after the cycle and is extremely quiet. Again, note the amount of noise that's happening and how long it takes the machine to shut down. And when you watch our video on the i-10, you'll see that there's a significant difference. Now I'm going to take you inside the strapping machine where all the key components are there for you to evaluate and again compare to the StraPacks. Start with the insides of this style strapping machine and then compare it quickly to the i-10. This is the sealing head of a semi-automatic strapping machine, and this is the same basic design. As I mentioned, it has been out for decades. While looking at this machine, you would not say that it has a significant number of moving parts. It's not a complex machine. But when you compare the moving parts in this machine to the moving parts in the StraPack machine, you can see that this has significantly more moving parts. What that will mean to you over time is that some of these excess moving parts are going to wear out, or you'll have a breakdown in your strapping machine. Also, this generation strapping machine uses old technology, including chain-driven motors and rubber V-belts and some other components that were typically used a generation ago. When compared to the StraPack strapping machine that doesn't have any of those kinds of components, that is old technology which can cause you more breakdowns and is not as reliable. I want to point out a couple of important features on the strapping machine that you should know about. First of all, this style strapping machine requires oiling. In the sealing head area, there are some parts that move up and down in a shaft, and you are required to put in some light-duty sewing machine type oil to keep those parts free and moving. Our experience has been that operators and maintenance departments are too busy and they forget to do that. Over a period of time, the springs will weaken and you'll eventually have to replace them, or you'll wind up having a service call. If you use the wrong kind of oil inside these machines, including a heavy oil, it can mix with corrugated dust from your application, and you can create a big mess inside your strapping machine, which will cause you to have to take it apart and clean it. With the StraPack i-10, it requires no oiling. Therefore, you eliminate all that and the possibility that you're going to have an unwanted breakdown. Next, take a look at this component, which is to adjust the heating temperature, which is used to melt the strapping together. It is out in the open where an operator can turn the heat temperature from 0 all the way up to 6. And while at first that looks like a convenient place to put it, it turns out that that isn't. Because our experience over the years is that machine operators will turn the heat setting up and down depending on what they perceive to be a problem with the strapping machine. If the setting is too low, the strapping may melt together initially through a heat seal, but the package may get out the door and the straps break because there wasn't a proper welding on the heat seal. If you turn the heat setting all the way up to 6, you'll wind up turning the heat temperature on constantly, and that eventually will burn out the heating element. With the StraPack strapping machine, all those adjustments are tucked away safely inside where a machine operator cannot easily get to them. So you're not going to have a problem with burning out the heat seal area or a problem with packages breaking open in transit. One more thing about this machine that you should know about. Every machine applies tension to plastic strapping depending on the type of package that you have. With these older style strapping machines, you'll notice on their brochures that there is never a dial on the front which will allow you to adjust the tension setting. If you go from a small package to a big one, or you go from a single to multiple packages, it's convenient for the operator to be able to quickly and easily change the tension setting so that you get just the right amount of setting for your package. You don't want to cut into the package. You also don't want it so loose that the band slides off. With this older style strapping machine, an operator has to go around to the rear of the strapping machine to make the tension adjustment. And this is very inconvenient. So unless all your packages are the same type, every time you change packages, the operator is going to have to go around to the back, reach around, and make the tension adjustment. This not only takes time, but it can be inconvenient, especially if your strapping machine is built into a tabletop or a conveyor. With the StraPack i-10, there's a very simple adjustment on the front of the machine, a simple dial that allows you to quickly and precisely dial in just the right amount of tension. Keep in mind that when you purchase a strapping machine, you're actually purchasing a strapping system, including a long-term relationship with the supplier who sold you the machine. And that's because strapping machines like the i-10 can easily last 10 years or longer. So you'll occasionally need parts from us. We have some of our machines out since they were first introduced, and for over 5 years we've never replaced a single part. But on occasion, depending on how you use and take care of your strapping machine, you may need an occasional part. And if you do, we're going to be here for you, just like we have for all of our other strapping machine customers for over 25 years. With this machine on your right, you'd be extremely fortunate, unless you have a very light application, to get by for more than 2 years without needing parts or service. If you purchase a strapping machine from us, you have the option of trying it for free for up to a week and a free coil of strapping for most applications, so that you can see for yourself how well our program will work for you. Again, please watch our video on the StraPack i-10 strapping machine so that you can compare both machines. And this video is an example of the kind of resources we provide for our customers. At any time, feel free to call us on our toll-free number 1-800-632-8933 with any questions you have. And thanks for joining us today.